Good morning. And before I start with this episode here, I want to preface with that this is meant to be a very happy topic and one to align you with the desires and things you want in life versus the opposite. And I'm going to start with like this. When is the last time you thought about your own mortality? The inspiration, I guess, for this live cast here is I was scrolling on Instagram. I don't even know why I turned it on. Once in a while, I'm pretty good about staying away from social media, but once in a while, I will like need a little bit of a break. And if I'm doing work at a computer and I'm not giving myself that break, I'm like I turn on the phone. I go into social media before catching myself and turn it off. But this time, a friend's feed came into and came on my phone, and it was about a friend of his who had just passed away. And looking at it, I was very interested. I'm like, well, who, like, right? So I'm friends with this person here. And who is this person that passed away? So I clicked on that person's page. We had a lot of friends in common. And then I remembered that I recognized him from high school. And so I was looking at it. I'm like, well, how did he die? Right? It's one of the questions that we always ask because we're like, well, what is it? What is it that we have to avoid? Like, what happened? And as you probably would guess, like what is one of the major causes that surprises a lot of people is cancer. So I was looking at, I did a search and I was looking on just on Google, just trying to see what exactly had happened. And I got into a page where people were just kind of describing what he had done. Essentially, it was almost like an obituary. At that time, I turned off I shut down my phone, and I was just kind of thinking about this for a while. I'm like, oh my God, well, he was born the guy was 3 years older than me. Like, this is crazy. 3 years older than me, lost his life to cancer. And it was probably, I would bet it was probably something super quick too. But he opened many gyms and he had a lot of touch with an impact with his community. And it got me reflecting about my own life. And it got me thinking about, all right, well, what if I passed away? Like, what would my obituary say? Like, what would other people say about me? And I thought about it like, well, I'm sure they would say Donnie lived his life. He traveled around the world, something I'm very, very proud of. He pursued his passion. But what would it say about like the things I did? And it's not to say that the things that, like your goals and accomplishments have anything to do with your worth, because they don't. But when I was looking at it, what I essentially was asking myself is, am I playing as big of a game in life as I could? Right? Or am I playing small in different areas of life? Am I showing up to friends and family lovingly and being very present with them? Or like, what are the regrets that I'm going to have at that moment? Like, what would people say? Would the people closest to me, are they going to say, yeah, Donnie was great, didn't see him much, but he was ambitious, he always had something he was going towards, right? Like, is that what I want people to say about me when my time has come? And I guess that is one of the questions I want to pose to you is, if your obituary were written as of right now, would you be happy with what it says? So these questions were just flooding my mind throughout the rest of the night. And I was just thinking of like, well, what would what would matter to me? And this question is very different for everybody, right? You may look and be like, oh, well, Donnie, you know what? I think you're doing great. You have your coffee company, you created this great beverage, you're traveling. And it's a very, the question, it doesn't matter what other people say. It's what is in your own heart, right? So if I am okay with, the outlets that I have, my coffee and the travels, if I'm okay with that, and that's perfect. But if there's something that's inside of you that is screaming for more, then you owe it to yourself to listen. So the entire night, as I was getting ready, like I was finishing up, I don't remember what I got home late last night. It was a long day and I ended up eating late. Then I watched this, I'm recounting everything. And then I looked at that reel, and then I was getting ready for bed. I was showering, and right before I go to sleep, I meditate and I say a prayer. And while all this was going on, questions just kept flooding my mind, like about what my obituary would read. And then I was just asking questions like, well, what would people say? And they're like, did I live? And that was actually one of the things I'd like, well, hell yeah, I did. I totally did. I followed my passions. I traveled the world. I did those things. I feel very good about that area. And then when I looked at, did I love and did I matter? Did I love not just like individuals, but did I love, like fully love life? And you might be looking at me like, well, you look like you fully are engaged, but on the daily basis, like I can be honest and say that sometimes I feel like it's a dredge. Sometimes life is a dredge, right? And it feels tough, but you got to just kind of get up and keep on going. Like in those moments, like the very fact, the gift that I'm alive, like, was I loving in those moments? Meaning, was I loving with the moment? Was I loving to the people that were around me? Or was I allowing the crap that doesn't even matter, the stuff I'm making up, the stories in my head, to take control of my focus and to literally lose out on this time with the people who I value most? I could honestly say that I noticed that a lot lately, and it's disturbing, right? Because it doesn't feel good, but it also gives you awareness as to how you need to change. It's this way, when you go to write that obituary, it reads the way you want it to. And then it goes to, did I matter? Like, did I matter? I was thinking about, all right, well, I mean, I believe that I have an impact with the people whose lives I touch as I'm serving my cups of coffee, the people that are watching this. But what is the impact? Like, how big of an impact do I want to have? And again, it kind of went back to the loving side, I'm sorry, let me rewind that. It went back to more about the scaling and then the people that I can touch and expanding that reach. Was I doing that? Yes and no, but I'm doing it, but almost from a place of safety. So what I'm trying to say is it made me be real with how I am showing up. And while it could be very discomforting, there's nothing wrong with that, because in getting real, now you have awareness, and now you could change. And change is not going to come just from me coming on here, sharing this with you and saying, all right, this is the awareness. So guys, like, right, do the exercise, put yourself in that mindset. Change is going to come from focusing on this every single day and using some kind of measuring stick daily, multiple times a day, to be like, hey, all right, let me just pause for a moment. Am I living the way I want to? Am I mattering? Am I loving people? Am I living, like truly living my life, follow my passions, the things that I'm being pulled towards? Am I living? You do that once a year, you're going to be probably very far off. You do it twice a year, you may have a good feeling. You do that every month, you're going to start to make some progress. You do that weekly or daily, you're going to get some momentum. You do it 3 times a day, you are going to be aligned. So the reason I come on here is because I want you to just look at how you've been showing up. Look at how you've been showing up for your life, for your loved ones, for your passions, your interests. And it's not to say that you have to have everything figured out right now. That's not it at all. But you were given the gift of life for another day. Wouldn't it be amazing for someone to say, you know what, Donnie, didn't matter what was going on, he always showed up in a good mood. He always showed up like he was just present and so grateful just to be alive. It seemed like nothing fazed him. Things just rolled off him. And he was always very focused and always very disciplined and moved towards his goals. I like that, right? And don't forget the living life. He traveled around the world. He did what made him happy. And he was amazing to others. He always let others felt like he was seeing them. He encouraged them to go for their dreams. He was inspirational. So I hope this lands well and it doesn't scare you off too much. But let me ask you some questions. Like, how would your obituary read if it were being written right now? And would you be happy with that? If not, what would you want to change? If you want to take the challenge, write that obituary right now as to how it would read, but then look at the contrast. How would you want to read? But when you write how you would want to read, do it from a place that's separate from the ego, that it doesn't, that you don't have to achieve big things. Just think of how you want to feel each day, how you want to show up, the impact you want to have, how you want to interact with other people, and what you want to value and find meaning in. That is all I've got for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed this episode here. If you did, please hit that subscribe button. And as always, you only get one life. Live fully, live passionately, and most of all, live now. God bless you guys, and I will see you again soon.